Hi, thank you so much for grabbing this 8-page unit or program evaluation. What I'm going to do is just kind of walk you through each of these sections and give you a bit more detail about what it's actually asking you to do and how to apply this. But let's start by talking about Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples' cultures and histories. Now, of course, if you're not from Australia like I am, then just insert your own Indigenous cultures and histories and your own Indigenous peoples into what you're looking at here when you're evaluating your units. So first of all, I want you to think about any links that you can identify between this program that you've got that you're evaluating and significant days for our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. And I've given you here a link, and if you click this link, it will open up this page, which is provided by the New South Wales Department of Education. And you can see just a list of some of the key dates for the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people in Australia. So National Close the Gap Day. Most people are fairly familiar with NAIDOC Week down here. And there's also the International Day for World's Indigenous Peoples listed there. But you want to just have a look at when you're delivering this unit or this program and how it might connect with any of these days. If they happen to be on at the same time, it'd be really good if you could utilize these days and bring them into what you're doing in your unit. The next question asks you to look at your program and consider whether or not Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people's significant contributions to society can be incorporated or strengthened, and how you would actually do that with this unit or program. So here I've got a few examples of maybe you might evaluate the contributions of Mabo to our country and how that's actually changed what's going on across our country. Now this can include, but it's also not limited to, significant athletes as well, or political figures or business achievements. Now, if you don't know any significant Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples, then I suggest that you go and have a look and do a Google and see what you can find. But you can include people like Neville Bonner, who is the first member of the Australian Parliament. You could include Albert Namatjira, who is the first Australian citizen. You might look at Adam Goodes, who does a lot of work with youth in detention centres, or even Vincent Lingiari, who was highly involved in the peaceful protests that the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples put on in order to get their fair pay and their better working conditions. So they're just a few significant people that you might be able to incorporate into the unit or the program that you're evaluating at the moment. You might also want to think about where you might be able to include some guest speakers, whether that be celebrities, teachers that you might have at the school, people who run businesses or who are successful. And remembering that across our curriculum in Australia, we want to use a strengths-based approach. And so we're trying to really emphasize the strengths that exist in our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people and how they've really achieved great things in our country despite all the hardships that are put upon them. The next question asks, can you think of any local Aboriginal organisations or communities that could help make specific connections to enhance the learning of your students in relation to your unit or your program? And so here you might think about the local cultural centres that exist around you, your local elders. Can you make connections with them? Or maybe if you're in a particularly prominent Aboriginal culture or community, there might be a Aboriginal medical centre, or you might be able to make connections through your AIM mentors that work with the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students that you have at your school. The last question here asks, how can we include awareness of current issues for or about Aboriginal people within learning activities and programs? Now here it's actually really important that you are up to date with current news and activities that are relevant and important for our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander communities. And so one way that I would recommend that you do that is to not only be involved in all those historic and significant days and the events and the celebrations that happen within that, but also to subscribe to Koori Mail. So Koori Mail is basically news that is really targeted towards Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples and provides a lot of current issues that exist at the moment that are happening, whether that be politically or locally, that relate to and that affect Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. It also includes, there are ads and stuff that are all very targeted. And so this is a place where you can come if you don't know or what's happening currently, to actually go and have a look at some of the things that are happening that you might be able to make connections with in relation to your program that are more up to date, that are more relevant for our current generation of students in our classrooms. So that's it for this section. Stay tuned for the next video where we'll be looking at how we can really cater to our students.